What are you looking at me like that for? A Few Acres of Snow is set in 1754 and covers the French and English fighting for control of their colonies. Now, that probably doesn't sound very cool, but what if I told you that A Few Acres of Snow had towns called Berwickwood and Ticonderoga and Okay, so maybe it isn't the coolest game, but you should know about it for two reasons. The first of which is that it's fabulous. Imagine it soaring across a basketball court to slam dunk a Nobel Prize. That's the kind of brilliance you're paying for here. The other reason you should know about it is that it is secretly, soul-scratchingly horrific. Part of that's because it's poignant. You will resort to the most filthy underhand tactics and abuse of Native Americans just to be in with a chance of burning one of your opponent's settlements to the ground. But the other reason it's horrific is that it's very simple. It is, for a war game, it's very simple. And you'll learn the rules and you'll look at the version board and you'll say something to your opponent like, better get the plates, Paul, because you're about to get served.
What does that even mean?
And then you'll start playing. And within 15 minutes, you'll have gotten yourself into a mess so unfathomably ugly that you'll find yourself physically recoiling from the table.
Exactly what is the source of this terror? Well, it's the very simple mechanic behind the game. Each player will get a deck of cards, and every turn they will draw 5 of these. They represent personnel or material or areas you control, and then they'll discard them to play them, to do one of a series of actions, and then they'll just draw back up to 5 again. Why is this so terrifying? Well, an example. Let's say you want to colonise Fort Beausejour, and you do, because the game is won by conquering and holding territory. You need to first of all find a card in your hand that says it's connected. Port Royal says at the top it's connected to Fort Beausejour, and that's good. So you play that card to show you have a connection, but because there is a sea between the two, you'll need also to play another card that has ships on from your hand. That's fine. That has a ship on the bottom. You see, a little ship. Yeah, that's fine. That's good. So now you can do that. You might need a settler's card as well, but you don't in this case. That's okay. That's great. Now you have fort, but you've got it, and so you take the card and you add that card to your deck. Except fort, it's not very good. It just has beavers on it, and that's all it does. But now that's part of your deck all the time, and your deck just got flabbier.
While you and your opponent will be wrestling over this board, this deck will be your own private battleground. Throughout the game, you'll be buying armies, you'll be conquering locations, you'll be commissioning cannons and canoes and crooked bureaucrats, turning your deck into an increasingly unbalanced, awkward monster. The first time you draw a hand of 5 cards that you can't do anything with, you'll feel like this deck just bit you.
Really, it's a remarkable way of simulating the complex logistics of war. For example, if you have just one army and a bunch of territories, then your troops are spread too thin. Or if you spend your time recruiting loads of militia and Indians, then you're going to be tripping over them all the time while you're trying to get on with other serious
You're making it sound boring!
Well, you made it sound like Hammer Horror.
Yeah, but I don't know if either of us are making it sound fun.
Okay. It's important to remember that this deck mechanic isn't just farting in your ear, it's also screwing your opponent up all the time. You're both in the same boat, except that it's more of a canoe. And you're having a knife fight in the canoe. And the canoe's in a tar pit and it's sinking, and with every slash in motion you're getting deeper and deeper into this paralysing glue.
But this deck building system isn't just a pain in the moneymaker, it's also a totally unique challenge. Let's say Paul wants to invade the town of Albany here. I get the chance to watch him buy armies and boats that he'll need for the invasion, and he's going to have to play those cards with the connected Fort Stanwix card. We don't know when he'll get the chance to start that siege, we don't know whether he'll succeed, we don't know when the siege will end, but what we do know is that the two of us will be biting our nails and panicking in terms of preparations before that battle happens, and whichever of us succeeds will be beaming with pride. What A Few Acres of Snow has done with this deck system is it slowed down the scale and the pace of a traditional war game, making it something more accessible and fun, without being any less epic. Another reason this is better than a traditional war game framework is that it's excruciatingly easy to see where you've gone wrong. You have too much of this card, too little of that card, your plan doesn't suit your deck. Of course, that was only one battle. Now imagine a whole frontier of invasions and plots and possibilities. It is no exaggeration to say that you will buy a card, it'll cycle round into your deck and into your hand, and you'll look, and you'll have no idea why you bought it.
An hour into the game, your deck will have doubled in size. It'll have grown from that petite little child with all the possibilities that it had through an ordinary teenager into an obese adult that you have no control over. Which, as Quinn says, is part of the appeal, because although it's a fascinatingly cruel and complex puzzle, this deck building mechanic, it's also capable of dealing out exactly the cards you'll need on a particular turn, which makes every turn exciting. It's like pulling the giant leaden lever on a slot machine of war.
Exactly! What else is cool?
Indians. Right. Although it's really complicated trying to raid another settlement and conquer it, it's worth almost as many victory points if you just burn it. And you can do that by hiring Indians. Although it costs you money. And your opponent can hire Indians, commandos as well, and block you. And, well, it's quite exciting that we should give a demonstration to give an example of how it's not just another creaky old war game. Indian raid on Fort Halifax from Kennebec.
Block! Indian raid on Kennebec from Fort Halifax.
Blocks. Indian raid, the same, more Indians.
Block! Indian raid on Kennebec from Fort Halifax.
Block!
Son of a bitch! And so Kennebec and Fort Halifax are saved, and maybe next turn, yourself and your opponent will play the fortification card, letting you brick up those settlements, leaving them safe from Indian attack, but leaving the two of you with decks choked with Native Americans.
Eventually, you'll want to buy this card, the Governor. This will be the firm hand of authority that you'll spank your deck back into submission with. Every time you draw the Governor, you can play him to dismiss 2 cards permanently from your deck, but the hook of the Governor is not just that you might want to keep those cards, but by getting him, you're just adding another card to your deck, more stuff.
I love this game. We've said before that with great games, the moment you finish them, you want to set the board back and play them again properly using everything you've learned. A Few Acres of Snow has this something fierce, though you won't play it twice in a row any more than you'd watch Dances with Wolves twice. All the same, your instinct is correct. The second time you play it will be much easier than the first.
No, it won't, you'll be screwed.
Yeah, you're right, you'll probably be screwed. All the same, we thoroughly recommend it, though it is still a war game, and as such, it has lots of pastel colours and wooden cubes, and as such, it's going to appeal to lots of people as much as a turd in a burger. However, for the other spectrum of people who want to test the brackish waters of war games, this is perfect as an entry title. Paul?
Well, I don't think there's anything exactly like it out there. It's a war game where your own worst enemy in this war is your bureaucracy.
Exactly. So, this, I think, is our chosen dueling game.
Right. Bathroom.